Hey everybody, my name's Casey Robinson, and I was just interviewed by the Keith Andrew Network, and I have to say he's an awesome guy. He's very creative, and he has a lot of wisdom to share and questions to ask you that will pull the wisdom out of you as well. So you should definitely watch and tune in.
For people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities, and never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them and still amount to something. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It's a wonderful show available on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and all social medias. Where here's a beautiful guest here only on the Keith Andrew Network. It is actually episode 1051. That is right, 1051 episodes of the Keith Andrew Network. You can see the whole library on YouTube. The best of will be on Instagram and all social medias. So that being said, it's a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest.
Hi Keith, I'm glad to be here.
No, the honor's all mine. As people heard from the recommendation before we got started, you already introduced yourself. So
Right.
we're going to ask you some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. Say anything you want. It's freedom speech, self-expression. I have no cards up my sleeve.
All right.
So with that being said, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Casey Robinson. I recently, like at the beginning of this year, 2023, started doing voiceover and narrating audiobooks, and also taught myself audio engineering. So I've been doing music and sound effects, special effects, all that. So that's been really fun. So it was a huge pivot because I grew up and have an art major, and then later pursued a master's in psychology and became a board certified behavior analyst. So I've been doing that for over 15 years and working with adults and children with special needs, especially autism, in home environments, clinics, residential, like lots of different places. And I have two kids, and my oldest has special needs actually. So in the end, I really needed to be home more often to help with my boys, especially my oldest, and just really needed a whole career change. And I've always done acting and singing on the side. So, and I read like crazy. So this just made sense. And I really, really loved it.
No, absolutely. Hashtag absolutely. So usually I save this at actually I'm going to break this down because we're going to do a special segment at the end. But I will ask you the first part. Was it kind of like an enlightened experience, or kind of like it fell from the sky that you obviously you don't know me through a hole in a wall? So when I emailed you and you got this email saying, hey, you talked to a host with a disability, was that kind of like you were joking with your friends saying, I like to be interviewed more? Or was it something that just randomly fell into your lap? It's like, you know what? I relate to this, therefore I want to help them. What was your reaction when this actually came to you?
Well, honestly, when I had to start social media, I'm not really big on social media. Like, it's not something I want to do because it takes up so much time. And it's not exactly fun for me. So when I had to start doing social media, LinkedIn was really the one I didn't want to do because I thought it would be just more boring, to be honest. But as I read other people and other voice actors were like, no, LinkedIn's really important. It's like, okay, fine, I'll do that one too. There's so many of them. And then when I started really connecting with other voiceover actors and seeing the kind of content that they put on LinkedIn, and then some of them just privately messaging me stuff and just saying hi or whatnot, I was like, this is really cool. I'm actually really glad that I did join LinkedIn. So when I got your message, it was just really neat because networking with people has been really awesome. And even if it's just sometimes commenting on each other's work or asking if they're having a good day, learning from one another. So no, I wasn't like talking to friends about, man, I wish I could be interviewed. It really just fell into my lap. But yeah, and I thought you were a neat person. So yeah, it was a cool opportunity.
I agree with you. And next one I want to ask you, going back to your college years, were you a study nerd or party animal? And going back to what you were mentioning before, but I do want to go back to it. What was your major in?
So I had an art major. So, the kind of major that's not very helpful in paying bills and sustaining life. Uh, I was not a party animal. I actually volunteered and drove the drunk bus for the party animals, but I wasn't like as nerdy and studious as I became later, to be fair. Like once I started pursuing my master's, I became much more, I don't know, I've always loved the pursuit of knowledge and I love reading research articles just for fun. But during college, that wasn't my main focus. I did a lot of weird stuff like playing pranks on people and like random social experiments with my friends on campus or outside of campus. Yeah.
What about have you ever you have what were some of your favorite pranks that you pulled on anyone? And what are some of the funny stories that has happened to you over the years?
Oh gosh, I have so many stories. Well, I know me and one person dyed the fountain. We were trying to dye it red for Halloween. We thought that would be funny, but it really was more of a pink color. And then like the foam that was coming out of it for days would just like drift through the air and it'd be like bright pink foam. So that was a kind of funny one. Stories. Oh gosh, I don't know where to begin. I lived on Ocracoke Island at the end of last year and got to have some really cool experiences there, like helping out with the wild horses. I grew up going there my whole life because my granddad was a huge fisherman, so the island just holds a very special place in my heart. But yeah, I mean, my son, my youngest one, almost died on the island, and we had to get a helicopter come because there's not really doctors or anything like that. The doctor that was on the island had just quit. It was a lot of things. So yeah, I have wild stories from all chunks of my life. It just seems to always happen. I should probably write a book, and then I can narrate that too.
Yeah, hey, if you're interested, I would love to hire you to write my book.
I like to write, so it's fun.
Okay, well, we can definitely talk about that off the air. The next one I want to ask you is what were some of your favorite sports that you played growing up? And did you ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids or not into that stuff?
I've never done a human pyramid. I would be into it. I know you asked me. I don't have enough like local friends. All my friends are very spread out. So I think though, if all the friends I know were in one location, I could probably get a good many of them to do it. I could think of one friend of that's local that would be willing. So if we could get more friends, we could make a pyramid. As for sports, I did grow up playing soccer. So that was my favorite. I know my coach called me Truck and he put it on all of my trophies. And then he saw me later on in life and he was like, Truck, you're a girl. Because I was always kind of a tomboy. And then I played church basketball. Actually, I had all the points for the team for the whole year, which was 1 point. That's how good we were.
Hey, you appreciate this one. Yesterday, I was supposed to talk to this Now Network. And I was like, I was talking to them in the beginning, say you have a talk show, 1,000 episodes, how I have a disability, turn myself into an example. We love it. We would love to have you on the show, air your episodes. I'm like, okay. And something, you ever have like I don't know, someone takes the wool over your eyes and you can actually think like the, oh my God moment?
Uh-huh.
So I had the moment where I said, I'm just going to throw it out there and see what type of reaction I get. I said, okay, my show's about disabilities, turn myself into an example, obviously. And my show goes between PG and rated M. It depends on the guest and what they want to talk about. It's no nudity. Sometimes they to mention the F bomb, but it's freedom of speech. So I want you to express yourself. I want you to get fired up and you're making it a friend out of it. As long as you're enjoying it, the audience can relate to it. So my
Yeah.
show is like a variety show. So I kind of had a stupid moment where I said, well, my show is not really a Christian show, and I'm not a Christian. Can I still work on your network? I never heard back. I'm like, well, you were interested. You did say you liked the fact I had disabilities, and it's
But
what?
then you no longer made the cut after
Yeah.
that, I guess.
So
Ugh.
how I want to be right back to you, and I do apologize for my disability. How I want to be right to crossing back to you.
First of all, why do you have to apologize for a disability?
That's true. I try to hold myself professional, but I haven't done my interviews as of late, so my disability shows more. So
Well, I think you're doing great. That would be like me saying, I am very sorry that I am only 5'8" and I lost that inch when I gave birth to kids. But
that's true.
how does this question tie in with me? I'm curious.
Now the question is, have you ever given yourself an opportunity but accidentally said something and jeopardized it?
Mm. Um, Probably, but I will say that I'm a very outspoken person, so a lot of times I knowingly say the thing that jeopardizes me because I would rather put whatever that is out there and then know ahead of time. And also so that I can be free to be me, because if being me is going to be a problem, I would just rather not have the opportunity at all. So I just take that gamble to say the thing. And if it takes away the opportunity, I'm like, okay, I guess it was for the best.
No, I relate to. I can relate to you. That's why I wear the filter glasses because it helps me with my anxiety, and I get to dress up and show more of my personality.
Yeah,
Usually, I don't wear the filter glasses. Right now, I'm looking directly at you, but if you look at the camera, it looks like I'm looking straight. So
yeah,
this helps me focus. When I didn't have the filter glasses, my eyes would be shift to the other side. I'm like, it's okay. Is he cross-eyed or what the hell is he staring at? Because he's not staring at the camera. Now I
yeah,
can hide my eyes and I can move around and I can do other things to be interactive instead in the back of my mind is stare at the green dot because they tell you when you're a voiceover actress, when you look at the camera or for the microphone aspect of it, don't look at the microphone. Just speak. Just be yourself. So it's kind of like a distraction for myself. But that's the next one I want to ask you. You are a fantastic voiceover actress.
thanks.
Who, oh, you're welcome. Who inspired you? And for people with disabilities who want to follow in your footsteps, what would be your words of wisdom?
Well, who inspired me? I don't know if this counts as inspiration, but I've always been silly and would like my cats inspire me. I sing them lots of songs. I'm gonna pick one up. Oh, say hello to Halo. He has extra toes. So they enjoy my antics, and I've always grown up with lots and lots of pets. And in college, another kind of crazy thing I did is I had a best friend named Jeffrey, and we had lots of different characters. And so we would act our different characters out in person all the time. We would just switch back and forth. I still remember a lot of them. They had their own voices and their personalities. And sometimes we would literally hang out and just for hours, just go back and forth in our characters. And it was fun. It was really fun. Unfortunately, Jeffrey ended up in a car accident and died. And it was a very tragic thing, but I will always remember all of our fun characters and kind of sometimes I talk in his characters to keep his characters alive too, or have them like talk to my cats. I don't know. But I do think a lot of those characters were inspiring to me. And then hearing other people narrate books, like I really like Amanda Ronconi. She's really funny and she's good at just talking in a very real way, and making the characters just feel really like cool people. So I enjoy all the books that she narrates. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what gets you fired up?
Gets me fired up. I mean, like in regards to voice acting in general or just in general?
Well, I wanted to show our audience a different side of your personality. So, what certain subjects like get you
Oh,
really
okay.
motivated and
Oh,
gets
okay.
you energized?
Psychology. I love knowing how the brain works. And I love knowing how people work and like this whole study of human behavior and the study of the brain, like neuroscience, as well as animals. I'm actually reading a really good book right now called Evolution Gone Wrong, and that's been pretty fascinating. So I love that kind of nerdy talk. But I also love horses a lot. Um, I've had a lot of studies of religions, so I can carry on a lot of religious conversations. That being said, after being alive for 40 years now, if it's going to be a person who can't have a civil conversation and respectfully disagree, I would rather not. Then I'll just like pass on that. Let's just talk about chicken fingers or something else.
No, I get that a lot. My brother, my sister, even the places I work, it's like, Keith, you have this great talk show, and you have diarrhea. My dad says I have diarrhea of the mouth, but I can't have a normal conversation because I give you an example. Yesterday, my family was talking about I don't know baseball, and how am I okay? Well, what can I bring to this conversation? I like Daryl Swarberry, or I would just bring some random shit to it, and they all suddenly looked at me like, "That's not how conversations work." So yeah, I'm so
Is
sweet. I'll
that
bring.
I don't know enough about baseball. Is that an actual baseball player?
Oh, Daryl Swarberry, yes, Hall of
Oh, well
Famer.
then why did that? I mean, it was relevant.
That's true, but
I would have been like, I really love A League of Their Own. I was like, that is a great movie. That's about as baseball depth as I can go.
no, you're absolutely right, and that's one reason for the show is to help me with my people skills.
Well,
Otherwise,
I personally think there's a lot of focus on unspoken social rules that are dumb. And there's a lot of things that people want as rules that really aren't necessary and
yeah,
prevent people from being themselves. And they want other people to adapt, especially people who aren't neurotypical. And I'm not a huge fan of that because I think embracing our differences is very important. And I think those differences in us contributes to amazing things in society and throughout history. So if everyone was to like put themselves into that cute little box where everyone wants them, the world would be tragically dull and devoid of a lot of amazing inventions as well.
no, I agree. Now I'm going to ask you a couple hard hitting subjects, and you can
Okay.
throw it back at me.
Okay, I'm
Now,
ready. I'm ready.
and no disrespect by this, but I do want to talk about your looks because you
Oh,
are beautiful, by the way.
thanks.
I'm a bad flirt. Still single. Still single, working on it. But anyway, but when I give you an example, have you ever been judged by how you look? Because for me, as soon as I'm said to someone, "Hey, I have a disability," oh well, the position of the job has been filled, or you're overqualified.
Yeah.
Really, that's okay. We're playing that game. All right. So for you, when you went for job interviews or even auditions, do you have to put a mask on, or do you just say, "This is who I am. You're going to accept me for who I am, or you're going to make friends with the door"? Have you ever been in that situation?
I mean, yeah, I feel like I get judged for being a woman a lot and when it comes to professional or well pretty much anything throughout life. I could give endless examples of that. As for my looks, I mean, it does play in. I mean, right now I dressed up for you. I put on like some blush and some fake eyelashes, but normally I am like 100% mom mode, or I'm walking around in my pajamas and no bra, and I'm like sweating on the exercise bike, looking like shit. And I'm like, what's up, person at my door with a package? I'm so sorry. So, you know, I don't look like this all the time. I'm usually like, what? What's next? Um, but I've gotten judged for hair color a lot and tattoos. And I mean, sometimes I think when I work with other women, women can be very jealous. Whatever it is, it may not just be looks, it could be any number of things. And that's something that I really try to foster is good relationships with other women and supporting other women and like letting them shine in hopes that they'll see my intents and my heart and embrace that as well. Um, and you get treated a certain way. So, and you can get treated a certain way because your looks, that's not preferable, especially by men. So, yeah.
I agree. Now, do you act differently when people watch you? Like, for not to sound creepy, I do apologize. Let me rephrase that. When people are just there watching, like it's a supervisor or someone telling you to read a script a certain way, do you feel like you have to act a certain way, and once they disappear, your I can't butcher the freaking word. Your person, let's change the word. The personality of you comes out more. Do you feel there's like a difference?
Overall, no, because that's my choice. I choose to be me because I don't want to not be me because it wouldn't be worth being in an environment that drains my soul. That being said, I'm still a human being and not a robot. So, yeah, if I was doing something like an audition and everyone's staring at me and judging me, yes, I would have stage fright and I'd be nervous. But am I going to like change my personality? No. Am I going to employ filters per certain situations? Only if I absolutely have to. Um, I really try to avoid it at all costs, even if it, makes people feel judgmental towards me. I'm okay with that. But, like my sense of humor, I know not everybody can roll with it, including most of my own family. So I might put a clamp on my mouth and just be like a quieter version of me and have all the thoughts buzzing around in my head until I leave and find a poor victim to unleash all my thoughts on.
Well, if you need a poor victim, I'm always great at the conversations.
Okay, good, good, good.
So the next one I want to ask you, actually, I want to pass it over to you. Was there any subjects you want to ask me? Anything you wanted to promote? This is your time, after all.
Not really. I mean, my website is www.thevoicefairy.com. I have samples on there. Like I said, I really just started this in March because I also built my own recording studio by hand, by myself, no help, no men. Thank you very much. And so that took some time. And then I'm also doing other things on the side, like editing books and other random jobs and children and chores and pets, blah, 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 so I'm a hustler, baby. So I don't really know that I have lots to promote, but if you would read books and review them, that would be super cool. Or even better, if you have a book and you want me to read it, I can do lots of different voices and accents, and that would be fun.
Definitely talking off the air about that, because a lot of people are like, you have to write your book. You has to be in your voice. I read and learn at a fifth grade to high school level. So here's a card for you. It
Okay.
has 15 questions. And obviously on the back it has numbers because I was interviewed. I'm like, okay, they're going to ask me what I did, who I interviewed, blah, blah, blah. But they're like, you have to write a book. I'm not a storyteller. I'm willing to hire you if you're interested to help me create a story. Of course, you get the credit for it. And I'm not one of those people like, oh, it's mine now, man. But, it's one of those things where you have to work together.
Yeah.
I can't write myself out of a wet paper bag, but, if we can do something fun, there's a point to it. There's a
I
point to
love
my
I love that. I've been writing for a long time. I've never published anything or attempted it yet, but it is on my very long Santa's to-do list. But I like coming up with stories and I love doing it on the fly. And I really try to ingrain that in my kids too. We do a lot of creative board games, but we'll do a lot of stories in the car where we take turns and pass the same story around. So you have to build off of the last person. So I've always kind of been good at on the spot. I remember an exercise in theater class in high school is we had to get in front of everyone and they gave us a topic and we had to talk about it for as long as we could until the timer went off, if possible. And I remember my topic was buttons. And I literally talked until the teacher was just like, okay, wow, we know more about buttons than we ever wanted to know. And I was like, I don't know. I can vomit at the mouth just like you, Keith.
Hey, well, just throwing out there, how would you feel about creating your own talk show?
I think it would be really fun. I would love it. And it would
I,
also give me an excuse to wear all my fun costumes and my fairy wings and stuff like that.
well, if you're interested, I like to work with you.
Oh, I would love it. It's always, things are so much more fun when there's another person to do it with, as long as they're like-minded, similar values, on the same page. But yeah, I think doing things with another person is just more exciting.
I agree with you. Now, the last couple of minutes I want to ask you is stuff where we grew, because I'm 35, and I know you mentioned your age. I won't say it again, but it's only a 5 year difference, but it's not a big deal. But we are in the same generation. The reason I bring it up is think about the early 80s and 90s of certain individuals, certain skits that wouldn't fly over today. Do you think today people are too damn sensitive?
Oh my God, you're asking me with this loaded question with the last few minutes? I feel like I don't even know if I have enough time to thoroughly address this question without someone taking one sentence and then going off of that. Uh, this is too hard to answer with little time. That's a lot to unpack. I mean, we could talk about so many variables here. Are people too sensitive? Well, I mean, there's been a lot of trauma right now after the whole COVID thing. We've got a lot more people with dealing with some mental health issues. We live in a country that sucks with mental health. And there's the whole, like, it depends. I mean, everyone has such different personal experiences, and not everyone is as good at putting themselves in the shoes of another person, or taking a step back and truly evaluating the intentions of another person. So I would not want to say a blanket statement of, yes, the world is just full of like insensitive little, whatever. I would rather, if I was going to address that, I'd rather either go into a huge topic of it, or it'd be more like case by case basis.
We
So
can definitely save that for part 2 episode. I definitely will do that.
okay.
But the one thing I do want to say real fast, wrapping up the show, and I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Okay.
It's like the show on Nickelodeon called The Amanda Show, Amanda Bynes.
Yes, she was so great.
But do you think some of the skits were kind of questionable, where the one she goes, and it's funny, CC, but now looking back, it's like crooked teeth and bizarre a face. Oh, she's making fun of disabled people. And then like George the Animal Steel and Eugene, it came later, but George the Animal Steel, it's like, oh, he's an animal. Actually, no, he's actually making fun of disabled people. But the point I'm trying to make, but we can talk about this later, is it was okay to poke fun if you're just doing it for fun. You're not offending anyone.
Okay, that is, so in that specific instance, I don't remember that specifically from her show. I remember always liking her, like in all that and everything. No, I don't think it's okay. I think that's why I don't believe in canceling people, because people make mistakes. People are humans, and you don't always know everything going into it for why they did something, or the level of their ignorance, or whatever the excuse may be. Either way, they are a human being, and especially if they own up to their mistake. But when you know better, do better. I mean, it's really that simple. So no, I don't think making fun of a person, something of that nature. But then it's an interesting topic, because then we could take it like, okay, well, if that's not okay, is it okay to make fun of cheerleaders and pretend like cheerleaders are just like dumb bimbos? When I mean, legitimately, there's lots of cheerleaders that are very intelligent and very skilled. I mean, it's a crazy sport if you get into it. So where do you draw that line? That is a big question, especially in the world today.
Now stay tuned. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, this interview will be aired on all social medias. If you're watching, definitely like, subscribe, leave a comment. We both would like to interact with it and talk to you. Until we meet again, it was a real honor and privilege. Hanny as a guest.
Casey Robinson, catch you later. Thank you. Thanks, Keith. Bye, everybody.